the word in your home.
All right, good morning. Welcome to One Star Breakfast Show. Good morning, Abia, from MCL Television. I am Cynthia Echeme. I'm welcoming you on board Wednesday edition of this breakfast program where we're going to be telling you the news around the world and beginning with Abia State as we spread out to other parts of Nigeria. And immediately after now, you are going to be visiting the marble with me to find out what words on marble are going to tell us. And remember, words on marble are simply there to inspire you and I for our daily activities. And afterwards on marble, we'll now take a break and we'll look at the news and find out what the news is going to tell you and I. After the news, we'll go on a break and get back with our newspaper review to conclude our news bulletin for our One Star Breakfast program. After our newspaper review, there will be time for us to discuss. And this morning, guess what we're going to be talking about? Nothing or none other than the SARS disbandment on the lips of almost everybody of Nigerians. Remember the protesting against SARS. And that's why I want you to join us on our discussion segment. We'll be discussing, remember, it's very interactive. You're going to be telling us what you think. Do you think SARS should be disbanded? And why? Have they crossed the red line? All right, at that point in time, first things first. And let's go straight to the marble to find out what it has for us. Nelson Mandela is talking to us this morning. Nelson Mandela says, it always seems impossible until it is done. It always seems impossible until it is done. What is that you've been trying to achieve all these years? They appear to be impossible. They appear to be uphill tasks or an uphill task. Persevere. Be optimistic. Say yes, I must do it. In the end, you will find out that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Continue persevering. Continue praying. Continue pursuing your dreams prayerfully with perseverance. Of course, in the end, it will be achieved. And let's draw it home to you and I, to our God's own state. What is that dream state you want us to achieve? What is that dream state you've been praying for Abia State? It is not impossible. Continue praying. Let's persevere. Do what we need to do. You do yours and I do mine. In the end, we'll arrive at that Abia of our dreams. All right, let's go straight to the news. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSDC, Niger Command, has set up a task force to monitor the sales and distribution of petroleum products in the state. Commandant of the Corps, Philip Ayuba, disclosed this in an interview on Tuesday in Mina. The task force will liaise with the Department of Petroleum Resources (DPR) to track movement of petroleum products meant for the state from loading points to final destinations, Ayuba said. He said the 10-man task force was headed by ASP Peter Doma and Alhaji Abdullahi Yankara of the DPR Mina office. He said the task force was charged with the responsibility to return to normal distribution and sales of the product at government-controlled price in the state. Ayuba said that the task force would monitor and ensure effective dispensing of petroleum products by all selling outlets in and outside the metropolis. Strong indications emerged Tuesday that Lagos-Ibadan rail project may face delay if the challenges of gas pipeline, military property, Jibo and constant bridges are not surmounted ahead of the December 2018 completion deadline. The Minister of Transport, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, who spoke to journalists while on an inspection of the Lagos-Ibadan rail project in Papalanto, Ogun State, assured that the federal government will do all within its power to address the challenges and still meet the December 2018 deadline. For the delivery of a good rail project, the minister stated that the Jibo and constant bridges in Lagos State will be demolished. The minister said the present administration is determined to deliver the completion of the project to Nigerians come December 2018. He also said President Muhammadu Buhari will soon commission 10 new locomotives. The minister, who examined the level of work done by the contractors, expressed worry over the rate at which the project is being executed. He, however, assured Nigerians that the December 2018 deadline set for the completion of the project still holds, saying the contractors would need to identify their faults. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, on Tuesday warned prospective candidates for the 2018 UTME to be wary of fake pass questions in CDs being circulated in the country. The board made a call in a statement signed by the head of media, Fabian Benjamin, made available to the newsmen in Abuja. JAMB, while disassociating itself from the circulated papers, said that the items were intended to dupe unsuspecting candidates. The fake pass questions in CD and CD-ROM entitled JAMB PRO-CBT, Practice Software for UTME, was purported to have emanated from JAMB in order to give credence to the products. The board restated its commitment to continuously ensure that candidates apply for its examination were not misled, while calling on them to also avoid fake online sites. It, however, urged intending candidates to study hard for the examinations and channel all inquiries to any of the board's offices nationwide for any redress, challenges, or information. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja Tuesday gave the federal government and the nod to reopen the case it entered against the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, before the Code of Conduct Tribunal, CCT. In a unanimous judgment by a three-man panel of justices led by Justice Chuanen Akomolafe Wilson, the court said Saraki has a case to answer before the CCT in respect of 3 out of the 18-count corrupt charges the federal government preferred against him. The court, however, dismissed 15 counts of the charge on the premise that they were not supported with credible evidence. Specifically, the appellate court and the appellate court panel directed Saraki to return to the tribunal to defend counts 4, 5, and 6 of the amended charge. Whereas count 4 and 5 of the charge alleged that the Senate President made false declaration of his assets at the end of his tenure as Executive Governor of Kwara State in 2001 and on assumption of office as a senator in 2011, when he declared that he acquired properties at number 17A and number 17B McDonald, Ikoyi, Lagos on September 6, 2006 from the proceeds of sale of rice and sugar. In count 6, the federal government alleged that the defendant made false declaration of his assets at the end of his tenure as Governor of Kwara State when he failed to declare his outstanding loan liabilities of 315.5 billion out of the loan of 380 billion he obtained from Guarantee Trust Fund. He stressed that while federal government had, among other things, alleged that Saraki collected salaries 4 years after his governorship tenure had elapsed, it, however, failed to adapt any direct evidence from the Kwara State government. The appellate court, however, dismissed Saraki's contention that the federal government failed to tender into evidence original copies of the 6 assets declaration forms he submitted to the Code of Conduct Bureau, CCB. Following efforts by the government to remedy the poor state of Umimo, Shalo, Ayabumweze and Udabala roads, reconstruction work has begun in these inter-roads. MCL News visits these roads for an update on the construction work. Grace Atwanya was there and came out with a story.
Before now, motorists, tricycle operators and commuters experienced difficulty in accessing the area owing to the poor state of the road. A few weeks back, grading work commenced at failed parts of Umimo, Shalom, Ayabumweze and Odabara roads. When MCL News got to the area, it was observed that the grading exercise is progressing significantly.
Too much. So, go I want to choose an 8-year gota. Okay, you don't show keep hold on the mother.
Obi the mama the community umeze owala. All thing our problem. Our ebasa red mode. Our emeka ahula arunya roya to the test impestreni. Ebe bu de mi yantoa anya na no teba. Owan nyo ra heba. Even not the future blue muscle, jelly memory. So, man, as our government say they can anawano. Abali allow like I know me. Where you see make a order ma.
I'm the cook canoes with sand gutter to water side. So that in a way that when rains come, the whole water will float inside the river.
Members of the public who spoke to MCL News commended the efforts to reconstruct these hitter roads, but called for a speedy pace.
I feel it's a relief from the governor to the people. I think our people are generally happy. So far, the road is now motorable.
This one is called Shalom Road, and it's linking Abia Umeze Road. Some few days ago, or barely a week ago, we saw some people who came with grading machines and caterpillars. We are trying to level the road. We have seen the leveling of the state now, of the road now at this point.
Also, the man, the only thing on the dust too much, and on our the store eba mandi bieba on the disturb on Abia nyaya can we can measure even today on we don't have like eba today because the government have because nyaya can use on them on them or them get on him or them.
People are suffering here. I think for now they should come back and do a better job. We are happy that they have come, but let them do a better job so that the people will enjoy the dividends of democracy. That's what I have to tell them.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Some people are suffering from calf, catarrh, and some other diseases caused by the dust. So I guess the government has to do something about this road. It should be tarred. Yes, the red mud. When it's raining season now, you see the condition of the road will even be worse than before.
The dry season presents an opportunity for the work on both Omimo, Shalom, Ayabumweze and Odabra roads to be concluded ahead of the U-tide for traveling convenience. The current grading work at these roads is expected to be fully complemented with the asphalting of the roads. Grace Atwanya, MCL News.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Abia, celebrated their annual Interfaith Christmas concert Saturday, December 9th, 2017 at the Stake Center, Abia, Nigeria Temple Complex, in acknowledgement of the birth of Jesus Christ. MCL News was there and came out with a story.
The Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints has celebrated the 2017 annual Interfaith Christmas concert, tagged Abba Celebrates God's Gift to the World, with a theme from the Bible text of Luke chapter 2 verses 11 and 14. The service commenced with a song by the choir of the Latter-day Saints Church, followed by the opening prayer. The concert featured different choir groups from many churches, including the prestigious choir and the Celestial Choir. Reverend Ifeanyi, the representative of Reverend Nathan Kanu of the Anglican Communion, urged everyone present to worship the Lord Jesus in spirit and in truth, and let love rule.
And worship Him in spirit and in truth. Let us then, as much as it lies in us, live peacefully with all men. Let us allow the love of Christ rule all we do. It is therefore our prayer that the expectations of all who faithfully await the second coming of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ will never be cut short. And to Him who is able to keep you from falling, to present you faultless before His throne.
Speaking with some guests and members, they expressed joy and delight while urging other churches to emulate Latter-day Saints' annual Interfaith Christmas concert to experience the delight in it.
You know, we really need to bring back this into churches. We've modernized so many things, but this is what Christmas is all about. You understand? You know, that glow, that tiny voice and the glow and all that. It's beautiful, really. I enjoyed myself, really. I came with my kids and we had fun.
I feel so happy because the voices I've heard today are like that of angels. It's as if the world wants to end today because the voices are so melodious. We are really enjoying ourselves here.
It's always a privilege, okay, to always come to the house of the Lord, okay. So what prompted us to have such occasion, okay, is to be in the gathering of His children, so we can sing praises to Him.
I bịara ka anyị nụrụkwanụ different olu olu dị iche iche nke na-atọ ụtọ eweta mkpụrụ obi onye nwe anyị ji na-aṅụrị ọṅụ mgbe ọbụla ga-ekpegbu ukwu a eluigwe na-ejetu ndị mmụọ ozi na-aṅụrị ọṅụ na ụmụ ya na-enye ya olu ọma.
Chizoba Francis, MCL News.
All right, that's the news, and more news will be coming your way on our newspaper review segment quite shortly. Do stay with us.
Good morning, Abia, your one-stop breakfast show on TV.
it all, I got it for you. I got it all, yeah, I got it for you. Got it for you. I got it all, I got it for you. Yeah, I got it for you. I swear the feelings for you. I swear emotions for you. I swear truth for you. I swear eyes for you. And I wanna give it all to you. Yeah, that's why I wanna give it all to you.
BYC, best quality underwear.
Good morning, Abia. Your one-stop breakfast show on TV.
You're welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Good Morning Abia One-Stop Breakfast program on MCL TV, and this is our newspaper review segment where we take a look at the papers, the dailies, to find out what they have for you and I. And this morning, as usual, we're going to start with the Daily Sun. The Daily Sun this morning: gunmen kill former Bayelsa commissioner. Gunmen kill former Bayelsa commissioner, and the banner there: to die in Benin of generator fume. Continue that story on 4 and 42. Put it off. 2019, Buhari may pick Tinubu as VP. Buhari may pick Tinubu as VP. Oshibanjo Mo's return to full church work. Oshibanjo Mo's return to full church work. We have nothing to say on the matter, ex-Lagos governor's camp, and that's on page 39 for you to continue that story. And beneath there we see Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu State forthright with staff and pupils of Royal Orchard First School, GRA Enugu, during an excursion to Government House. This happened yesterday. Of course, you can see a picture of Ugwuanyi there with the children, the pupils of Royal Orchard First School, GRA, and this took place in Enugu. Alright, I'm leaving that beneath. You can see assets declaration. On assets declaration, Saraki sent back to CCT. Senate President heads to Supreme Court. And that story captured on page 12. African countries to abolish visas for Nigerians. African countries to abolish visas for Nigerians, says Minister. And that story, very good one. If I should say, go to page 40 to capture that story in full. And on pages 11 and 40 can be found on PDP Reconciliation Committee to address all grievances, says Dixon. Oyegu tax secondos on responsible leadership. Capture that story, like I said earlier, on pages 11 and 40. And North, not afraid of restructuring. North, not afraid of restructuring. Masari, please continue that story on page 12. Find out why Masari is saying this. And that will take us to the back page of the Daily Sun. The back page of the Daily Sun, we are meeting hard facts. And we are hearing from Mike Uzekome, page 47 of the Daily Sun. Kudos to the judiciary in asserting its heavily assaulted independence. and it's on page 47, Hard Facts. Mike Ozokome. And leaving Ozokome, we are meeting Algeria blunder. NFF begs Nigerians, vows to deal with culprits. NFF begs Nigerians, vows to deal with culprits. That's on Algeria blunder. Please capture that story in full on, on page 46. And that will take us down to meet Steve Wonsu Frank Talk. Frank Talk, Ojuso on UNN's radar. That's the photo of Ojuso there. And the former governor of Abia State, Ojuso, Chief Ojuso Kalu. That's the photo here. And I'll urge us to read the story in full and find out what Oji Kalu on UNN's radar is all about. Alright, and that will take us to the next paper. The next paper happens to be, as usual, The Nation, as we continue to wish our nation well. On the top left, Cross River to build 528 megawatts power plants. That story, please capture in full on page 10. And that will take us to JAMB remits 3 billion naira more to Federation account. JAMB to remit 3 billion naira more to Federation account. I'll capture that story on page 8. Secondus okays reconciliation. FIBA awards tied to Algeria. DMO to redeem 198 billion naira TBs. Alright, to capture that story, go to pages 10, 47, and 38. Alright, and without to take a break and get back, when we get back, we'll continue our discussion and a newspaper review. Please do stay tuned.
Good morning, Abia, your one-stop breakfast show on TV.
You're welcome back. It's still our one-stop breakfast program. Good morning, Abia from MCL TV. Remember, we're still on our newspaper review segment where we've been reviewing the papers, and I was still on The Nation before we took that break, and that continues. At the top left there, like I said, Cross River to build 528 megawatt power plants, and that's to be continued. You can see the story on page 10 for a more detailed reading. And JAMB remits 3 billion naira more to Federation accounts. JAMB remits 3 billion naira more to Federation account. And that story, please continue on page 8. Secondus okays reconciliation. FIFA awards tie to Algeria. DMO to redeem 198 billion naira TBAs. And that story, these stories, please continue on pages 10, 47, and 38. And that takes us to a Kachi headline. Court of Appeal to Saraki, you have case to answer. And the ban of their court orders trial on 3 counts have been vindicated, says Senate President. Okay, and that story, please capture in full on continue on page 2 of The Nation. And beneath there, you can see a picture of a group of people. Some Imo youths at the first Youth Annual Lecture Series, an award ceremony organized by the Imo State Government at the Imo Youth Center in Owerri, and this happened yesterday. Nigeria plans to boost oil output as price hits $65. Alright, and continue like also on page 2. As we step down, we are meeting out yet another interesting headline. On 2019, PDP begins search for candidates. On 2019, PDP begins search for candidates. Please capture the story on page 2. And beside there, you can see a picture with the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo standing by the left there, and the House of Representatives Speaker Yakubu Dogara representing the PEBEC Impact Award to CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele Wright in recognition of contributions to 2016 to 2017 ease of doing business reforms at the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, Impact Award ceremony at the State House, Abuja, and this took place yesterday. And with that, we meet the last on the front page of the Nation this morning. The last are acquittal of High Court judge self-serving. Tragic, says Shagay. Acquittal of High Court judge self-serving. Tragic, says Shagay. And that story captured on page 5. And that takes us to the back page. The back page of the Nation. We're meeting today in the Nation from Dele Agekame. Dele Agekame this morning writes, and I'll read. The time has come for the police to wake up to their responsibility of protecting the public through efficient monitoring and intelligence gathering rather than brutal reputation which can get out of hand, as in the case of SARS. Special Armed Robbery Squad, that is SARS. Alright, and that is there from Dele Agekame as we meet Louis Odion. Louis Odion, the bottom line, Treaty Master and the Nation at the Nadir. Okay, and that's coming from Louis Odion. On the back page of the Nation, we see the picture of Professor Oyebode on Treaty Master and the Nation at the Nadir. Okay, and that is that as we meet Accommodore's Last Voyage. Accommodore's Last Voyage, and that's on the back page. I will urge us to read that story in full, the column in full, and find out what the Last Voyage is all about. Okay, and that takes us to Hardball. You can't have your cake and this it. You can't have your cake and this it. Okay, and that is Hardball there. I'll urge you to read that story in full. Okay, and that takes us to Ripples. Looters will face God's judgment. Buhari. Nah. They must face EFCC first before they face God. Okay, that's a nice one from Ripples this morning. And with that, we go to the next paper, the last but not the least, and that is the New Telegraph. The New Telegraph this morning promises very interesting headlines, beginning with the first. On the top of the paper there, on the federal government will crash interest rate for manufacturers. Will crash interest rate for manufacturers. The banner there, Osinbajo to meet MDAs. Brace up for tough measures. Okay, and that's to be continued on page 7. And we step down to meet 5 pictures, beginning with the one of Ademola. PDP Peace Committee reaches out to Judge Adeniran Dopesi Ladoja. Okay, and that story please continue on page 6 to know more on that. Okay, Secondos and his activities of reconciliation. Please go to page 4 and page 6 for more of that. And that takes us to Tambowal's picture, which says pensioners endorse Tambowal for second term. Pensioners endorse Tambowal for second term. Please, that story is on page 7 for more on Tambowal. And on page 34, we are meeting Adetunji's picture. The position Ibadan High Chiefs are entertainers, says Olubadan. Okay, and that story please capture on page 32. Find out why Olubadan is saying that. And the next is on Borate. Army Council reviews officers' conditions of services. Okay, capture that story on page 5. There is a photo of Borate. Alright, and that takes us to Akachi headline: extortion brutality. SARS operatives face panel. IG orders movement of 30 personnel to Abuja. IG orders movement of 30 personnel to Abuja. Please capture that story on page 5. All right, and beneath there we can see very colorful pictures. Gallant as Mr. Project, Wike Clerks 50. Please, that story is on page 11 on Wike, the #1 citizen of Rivers State, celebrating 50 years of age. Very interesting. Congratulations to Yesom Wike of Rivers State. And that takes us to another picture element. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Speaker House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, and Governor Central Bank of Nigeria, gathering Emefiele during the presentation of the Payback Impact Award to Emefiele in recognition of his contribution to 2016 to 2017 ease of doing business reforms at the President and the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, in Abuja. And this took place on Monday. And beneath there, another culture headline: Assets Declaration, Go and Face Trial. Appeal Court tells Saraki, Senate President to justify acquisition of Ikoyi houses. Okay, that's on page 6 for you to capture that story in full. And that takes us to the last on the front page on health. Exercise slows Parkinson's disease progression. Exercise slows Parkinson's disease's progression. Please find out how on page 8 for more of that story. And that takes us to the back page of the New Telegraph. We are meeting on Marble on the New Telegraph. On Marble from Edgar Watson Hall, if you have sense enough to realize how fires gather around a restaurant, you should be able to appreciate why men run for office. On Marble this morning, that is on Marble for New Telegraph. Remember, we had our own words on Marble from MCL Television. And that takes us to Bola Bolawale's this morning on the back page. PDP after convention, what next? Remember, this formed our discussion yesterday. After the PDP convention, what next? Okay, I want you to answer that yourself for Bolawale, and that's to be captured in full on page 14 of the New Telegraph. And that takes us to the next: party organization and electoral competition, part 1 of it. How choices Festus Okoye, Mahmoud Yakubu, INEC box. Mahmoud Yakubu is the photo you're seeing here, and I'll read out a little bit of this column, which says, the framers of the Nigerian Constitution consciously and in their own wisdom outlawed the formation of regional, religious, ethnic parties and state-based parties. All right, and that is on the back page. Hard choices from Festus Okoye, and that takes us to High Chief. Group to Buhari, Fashola has passed integrity test. News. Group to Buhari, Fashola has passed integrity test. Who conducted it? That's a question there from High Chief asking us. Who conducted the integrity test? Okay, and I want you to answer that question, you out there forming a part of this newspaper review. And with that, we crown this morning's newspaper review from Good Morning, Abia One Stop Breakfast Show on MCL TV. And we keep telling you that there's no overdose to knowledge. The more we read, the more informed we are. I will urge you to gather all the papers, and instead of not reading any, just grab one and read. Okay, and that does it. We go for a break, and when we get back to the time for us to discuss, I'm talking about our discussion segment. I will be talking about disbanding SARS. Is it the right thing? Do you think we should disband SARS? Going with the protest, several protests against SARS. Okay, and I want you to join us. Remember, it's a very interactive discussion segment. We want you to join us and tell us what you think. All right, to join us. Stay tuned.
Morning Abia, your one-stop breakfast show on TV.
My people for Obodo, Nigeria, one infection don't surface in some part of this country where them they call monkeypox. This infection now from bushmeat, especially monkey, rat and squirrel. Now the fluid from this animal, they cause some more. As we get this infection, we get fever, headache, back pain, rashes for all in body like chicken pox, but no be chicken pox, now monkey pox. The only way to stop this obonge yamayama infection, now to stop eating bushmeat. Have been any bushmeat we don't die, especially monkey, rat and squirrel. Make we try to wash our hand with soap and water before eating any food. Sanitize are good if we get some to the watch and regularly. Make all of our health workers, they use protective instrument, medicine, we fit cure this obonge infection. Never day, but we fit avoid them. The Federal Ministry of Health and the National Center for Disease Control don't put head together to fight this monkey pox all over that state. Make we now open eye so that monkey pox no go spread. If you suspect any symptoms of monkey pox, make you quickly rush go any health facility way near you. Our guy Presido Mohammed Buhari want everybody make we dey kampe so that we go jolly in good government. Health na weto monkey pox. Now we fit chase am come on. Now Federal Ministry of Health bring una this message.
Have you heard of Prescal World and Heaven Options Limited? Prescal is a home of the red image right here in Abia. Why go to Lagos or Port Harcourt for your direct image jobs? Come to Prescal World and Heaven's Options located at number 145 Azikwe Road, Abia for perfect cover page, journals, magazines, brochures, and flyers. We also offer printing services in digital flex and billboard, window graphics, posters, stickers, gift transfers, ID cards, complimentary cards, monogram, and car branding. Heaven Options offer you entertainment services like event management, ambulance services with well-dignified undertakers. We can also boast of 3 months ordinary program in computer training, 6 months certificate in computer training, and 1 year advanced certificate in computer training. Why not visit Prescal and experience that quality jobs? For inquiries, call 080-33-22-6115, 070-40-24-7196, 070-84-69-8165.
Do not deface Abia State with posters. Do not defecate on our streets. Do not litter Abia State.
My brothers, I say wetin man go do for this world where people no go talk. If you chop,
Do not urinate in public places.
you no chop, dem go talk. Wetin make we do for this world? I say make we dey do the things wey we carry for heart. Na so world want am. Abi no be so?
Keep Abia State clean. This message is brought to you by MCL TV.
Good Morning Abia, your one-stop breakfast show on TV. breakfast show on TV.
I knew that I would now. I feel good. I knew that I would now. So good. So good. I got you. Oh.
We make you feel good on MCL TV.
So good. So good. I got you. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Hey.
Good morning, Abia. Your one-stop breakfast show on TV.
All right, you're very much welcome back. It's still your breakfast program. Good morning, Abia, from MCL Television. Now, this is our discussion segment where we discuss very important, very pertinent topics that concern you and I as the true citizens of Nigeria and Abia. All right, and we are now going to talk about, like I hinted earlier, we're talking about looking at SARS, Special Armed Robbery Squad, SARS. Special Anti-Robbery Squad, and I want you to tell us what you think about this very topic as soon as we begin, because there will soon be a number on the screen with which you can give us a call, and because it is very interactive. We'll be all, for some days now, there have been protests across the country, in Abuja, Port Harcourt, with allegations levied against the anti-robbery, Special Anti-Robbery Squad. But people have been alleging that they've been maltreating and treating people very, very ugly. And that is why many people are calling for their disbandment. But it still leaves room for you to air your view and tell us what you think. But I'm not going to do that alone because we have here in the studio, seated with me, Chief Charles Mwangwa. Chief Charles Mwangwa is a public affairs analyst. Sir, good morning and welcome to our program.
Good morning, Abia.
All right, before we go ahead with the discussion, let's take you into a brief background intro. Over recent times, there have been protests in some major cities on Monday for and against the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, the police anti-violent crimes fighting machine. The unit has been accused of brutality against innocent citizens. Following the massive campaign, it has called the attention of Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris, who has promised to restructure and reposition the unit. Although there have been massive complaints in Abuja, Awka, Port Harcourt, protests were observed on Monday, the 11th day of December 2017. In Abuja, the Concerned Men and Women Association of Nigeria, a non-governmental organization NGO, rejected the call for the SARS to be disbanded. But a coalition of civil society groups issued a 21-day ultimatum for the scrapping of SARS. The hashtag End SARS Coalition, which staged a protest at the Unity Fountain in Abuja, also demanded the investigation of various allegations against operatives of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad and prosecution of indicted personnel. They said, "We demand that such officers be identified and immediately brought to justice. In some cases, we'll provide video and pictorial evidence against officers who have been seen to be involved in such acts of brutality and extortion." And just this morning, we read out from the paper that over 30 operatives of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, have been arrested and taken to the Force Headquarters, Abuja, on the order of the Inspector General of Police, IG, Mr. Ibrahim Idris. The operatives were arrested following petitions written against them by some aggrieved Nigerians who have been victims of SARS operations. And that takes us to the first question. Chief Charles Wangwa, welcome once more. You heard what I read out. And what is your opinion about SARS? You heard why people were protesting in Enugu, Lagos, and Oka and all that. What is your opinion about SARS, by the way?
Yeah, first, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad was set up with good intentions. The setting up of SARS was to create a specialized unit that their main primary duty would be to fight violent criminals, especially armed robbers, because the menace of armed robbers was such that they needed a specialized transport that know their movements, and in the SARS it incorporates intelligence unit, operations unit. But be that as it may, just like it's within the Nigerian society and the force in general, that idea, that philosophy with which SARS was set up, because in any law, in anything, you have human beings who will execute them. So they abused, because SARS was given enormous powers to be able to arrest, to detain, but SARS were not supposed to just come out on the road at the flimsiest of excuse. Then the worst was that the members of SARS saw themselves as being licensed to kill or be killed, because when they are facing armed robbers, either the armed robbers get them or they get them. They were not supposed to be like that. They are supposed to work within rules of engagement. So over a time, SARS changed. So they became debt collectors. They became, if you're quarreling with your friend or quarreling with somebody, just make up a petition, go to them. Without proper investigation, you're tortured, you are kept in special cells. So this abuse, and in most cases, the politicians too hijacked the SARS, like the case of Rivers State. His Excellency Governor Wike has been crying out over time about the excesses of SARS, the abuse of SARS. Even politicians converted SARS. You find a situation where when the private individuals is coming, like some ministers, you find out that SARS takes over, becomes their guard, acts as his guard. You find the commander of SARS accompanying him. So all this, we consider is utter violence to the purpose of the specialized unit.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And at this point, I want to, you said, you mentioned that how they, okay, let me go straight to the question. Do you think that they have really crossed the line?
Yeah, they have. SARS, they have abused their powers and position. So, and I don't believe SARS should be completely scrapped. They should be reorganized.
Okay.
It's just that even the police force in itself needs a reorganization. Instructions, laws are not really carried out. Every officer at every level abuses his position. So SARS should be reorganized. Then let them put some new people. Then from time to time, they should reorientate them. They should involve them to a retreat. They lecture them, they feed them, and their operations must be subject. You must have other units overlooking them, watching them, reviewing what they do from time to time. Any abuse, there should be a complaint, something like a complaint bureau against them. So any of the operations, once any form of abuse is noticed, and it will be addressed. But the general problem we'll have, just like in the Nigerian society, is impunity. Impunity is the problem we have. What do you do to somebody who ran foul of the law, who failed to carry out his duty as proper? You know? So if they can fight the problem of impunity, what is impunity? Because nothing will happen to you. Because nothing will happen to the other man who did something. So nothing will happen to you. So you can go on and on and on and on doing what you like.
All right, now just this morning we read out that 30 operatives of the anti-robbery squad have been arrested and taken to the force headquarters, and for them to be thoroughly investigated and if found guilty, dealt with. Do you think that this arrest now, this morning, called morning in quote, do you think that this arrest this time is timely? Shouldn't it have taken place before now? Did the Inspector General of Police need their people to protest before he could have known that there was something going on under his nose?
No. Things like that should have been done before now. And another question is, are you sure this arrest is not just a window dressing to make a media show so that people will think he's doing something? What will be the end? Are we going to be told the result at the end of the day, the 30 of them? So that's another question. It could be just because of the euphoria, the hues and cry to pacify the people. Oh, we are working, we are doing something. What happens next? Are you even sure that even when they were picked up, that they were not left behind the counter and just people announced?
Okay, you're afraid it could still be swept under the carpet? Like
yeah. Are they real? Are they serious?
But Nigerians are watching.
Nigerians have always been watching. There was the case of Apple 6, when at the end of the day, the chief culprit was called back at the force, given double promotion, paid millions in backlog of salaries, reinstated.
All right, the Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris has called for restructuring of SARS. Do you think for him to have called for restructuring of SARS, that he actually has a disbelief in SARS previously?
You see,
because if he felt that the restructuring wasn't necessary, he would have still told the public and said, no, this call against SARS is not necessary. I have a very reliable squad. There's nothing wrong with SARS. But this time he called for restructuring. So many people have the idea of the view that he might be, he has some misgivings.
You see, the Inspector General of Police, before you become an IG, you must have held command positions. He was a commissioner of police. At a point in time, he was also an area commander. At a point, he was also a divisional police officer. He knows, every policeman to get to that level knows what happens. But the endemic corruption we have in the system, and if you go to the police force, a place like SARS, GID, anti-fraud unit, others, there are places that are juicy posts that before you're posted there, you must have the backup. And you see, most of the people in SARS, for you to be a commander of SARS, you must have been in the force, have some ground, maybe have some godfathers, and so he knows all these things all along. But this time around, the pressure was so much that he has to do something, because the IG himself has his own problems too. Misal gave a lot of allegations against him.
Yeah.
So he's also struggling to also serve his own neck, and he cannot add more to the load he has already. So he has to do something for people to see him as different and working as action, because in fact his job for some time now is kind of hanging on in the balance. So he has to do something to prove himself. And this problem of SARS has provided him the opportunity, the needed to prove himself, to show himself as a reformer in line with the visions of our President Muhammadu Buhari.
All right, at this point in time, I want to now invite you, the viewer out there, to join us in this discussion. Of course, very soon you'll see a number on the screen with which you can dial and give us a call. Tell us what you think about SARS. Do you think SARS has really crossed the red line? Do you think they should be disbanded or restructured? What do you think? Have you been a victim of SARS? You tell us where you've been manhandled and dealt with SARS. You have a right to call and tell us what you think on this forum. All right, sir, do you think, if one were to ask, how do you think SARS should be, do you think SARS should be tamed? Because we agree that they have crossed the red line.
Yes,
Okay.
the police, they know themselves. They even know.
Go ahead, sir.
They even know most of the bad eggs in the system. Everybody knows one another.
Okay, I'm sorry to interject you. Let's receive number one caller. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for calling. What's your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Abia.
All right.
Just watching your program, that protest truck. Please, I'm begging you, push just help us. They need to end this now. They're killing us, seriously. I finished school from Abia State University, and no more. So I have to hustle on my own, do my indoor business, and survive. It's something I do on a daily basis, and everybody's doing, even Lagos, everywhere. So start now, they're not calling us criminals. But to the extent that they will come to our house, arrest us, carry our properties, we'll still pay them like 200,000, seizing cars and all those things. This thing is criminal act. They're not helping us. They're destroying our Nigeria, they're destroying our country. They're making us to go into something that there's no work in this country, so we have to do what we do and survive. So all this stuff, they're criminal. I'm sorry to say.
I'm sorry, please. Which area of Abia are you calling from?
I'm calling from Abia side.
Abia side. Has there been an incident that brought SARS around that area? And just tell us the story. Tell us the story.
What happened that year was I wanted to pick my sister. I want to pick her from. Okay, I want to repair my television. So I now called my sister to wait for me at that Union Bank Road side. So we are at that spot now. Start now. Partner told us to stop. Me and my last told us to stop. We now stop. They now say, well, what are we carrying inside the boat? We now put the boot and show them my receipt and everything. As my television, I showed them the receipt. They then asked me, what am I doing here? So they're waiting for my sister. All the time. Then I say I should show them. They drank the phone for me. After driving the phone, they now open the phone. Now say, what am I chatting with people in WhatsApp? Did we stay in Dubai? Yeah, where did you come from? All those times. Now I think that not now I'm still waiting to finish my clearance and to go to service. So they're not saying telling us we are criminals, we have this in phone, we have this with television. They are not saying nonsense. They will take us to station. Might take them 20,000 on the road. Let's release 20,000 naira. And another one happened around my side. I know they have been arresting boys, collecting money from them, which is very bad. They are now in Abia. So this they are criminal. They are criminal.
All right. All right, thank you very much. Chief, when you heard what he said?
Okay. You see, bordered most of their crimes, extrajudicial killing, extortion. I told you before, if you have problem with somebody, some of them just come, they have a target, how much money they want to make, and they just go on and
really?
People.
All right, let's take this other caller. Let's see if they have an experience of the ugly hands of SARS. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for calling. Please, your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Gabriel. Okay, I am calling.
You're calling from where?
From Abia.
I know it's from Abia. From which area of Abia?
I'm calling from New Road.
All right, thank you very much. Tell us what you think.
My idea is that the SARS should not be scrapped. Rather, it should be restructured.
Okay.
And also, the police officers should be restructured because the policemen on the road, they are not really doing the work. They are rather businessmen on the road collecting money. So they should reform Nigeria police and SARS itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You say police are businessmen.
Yeah, because when you see this, it doesn't take, you don't need a system.
It is very disheartening. Don't mind my laughter.
Just walk up to the road. So the extrajudicial killing, there was a case someone reported about because he refused to give bribe of 200 naira those days. They detained him, even charged him for murder, even put him laid evidence against him. And you see, sometimes these people are so mean that even when they do it as a judicial killing, if you don't have anybody behind you, they can just find an old rickety gun, put on top of the person, and all those kind of things. If you go to the prisons, so many will confess to you. So many people there just did nothing. Either they had a disagreement with the police, or somebody who just wanted to do them in, and they're there. So what they should do about SARS, like for instance, those days before the creation of EFCC, there was tension. Look at when the EFCC started. The EFCC, the way they operate is good. Okay. Even if they write petition against somebody in the EFCC, you have to prove it. The EFCC can't just come and pick you up because somebody says you bought a new car. Those days, you just buy a new car, somebody writes a petition, you go there. So SARS should work the way EFCC works. EFCC, they investigate. Even you make a report about someone not the EFCC, they will ask you to bring evidence. Okay. Then they will monitor.
Okay, let's find out who is calling us this time. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, good morning and thank you for calling. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Mr. Kechukweze. I'm calling from Goodmorning.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kechukweze, for calling. What's your take on the topic?
Thank you very much, and also good morning to your guest.
Yes, thank you, Mom.
Yeah, what I want to comment, SARS should not be scrapped away. It's rather restructured.
Okay.
They might have become a victim once before now. That day I was in my office, so a brother of mine just called me to meet him at Osama Park. So I was going inside that bus. This transport bus now used to carry people from flyover to Osama or to Osama Park. I boarded that bus at Tonima Junction heading to Osama Park. So on our way going, we are like 8 or 9 inside that bus. Before, after all our soil, they are now double cross box. Asked us to stop. The driver now stopped. He parked us at the middle of that road, and then they started people. They are now parked us. They are now allowing the women to move, to go. We are like few stores inside that bus. They now arrested us. You know the most painful part of it. They did not allow us to explain anything. They collected our food. And now inside that bus, they now put it under that silos that they used to sit. We are under that silos. They now treat us like one children on top of each other. Our legs were outside. They now put siren, start shooting gun. From that place they picked us, they took us to Goodmorning and the reference squad of high. On that fateful day, I now managed to do a price so that they will allow my food to go one of my brother. Immediately I called my brother came. He couldn't come that day. The next day he came. They told him that he should go and bring 200,000 for my envelope. And inside that day I was speaking, I was shouting, what crime did I commit? What offense did I commit? Then I said that one bus driver broke one bus glass. Imagine. So I don't even know what they are. We are doing arrest, trying to know who and who that was involved in that crime. Then I took my brother to go and look for 200,000 naira. I was in that cell for 2-3 days before I was ready. Before one man came, asked them to try, I think he's a policeman. He asked them, this guy that was making noise into that cell, inside that cell, that bring this boy out, bring this boy out. So I was not opportunity to bring out. The man now asked me, I said, okay, I commit no crime. And they have been me for 3 days. And I was expecting them to bring me to court. So let me know my crime. The man now asked me, so what's that? I was going to see my brother and his wife. They just got me arrested, that was all. The man now released me free of charge. Only me. Other people was there, so I don't know how they. So what I'm trying to say is that, more especially here in Abia, not only the staff, the police that meant to protect us are collecting. You live in Abia now. Let us
right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Eze. He has given us a rundown of a very detailed story of what his ugly experience in the hands of the people he alleged to be SARS people. Okay, we're just being joined by a legal practitioner and the person of Pascal Onyango. Pascal Onyango, good morning and thank you for calling at last.
Good morning. Good morning, Abians. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, before your arrival, we'll be looking at SARS protests rocking cities. As it were, from Monday, there have been protests against SARS by people in the cities of Lagos, Oka, River State, and others. And people have been calling for the disbandment of SARS, Special Anti-Robbery Squad. And the Inspector General Ibrahim Idris has promised to look into it, restructure SARS, and also 30 operational members of 30 operatives of the anti-robbery squad were arrested and taken to the force headquarters for investigation and possible something will be done about it. So I want you to tell us your view about SARS. But before you go ahead, let's take this caller who is coming. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for calling. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Abia, Emmanuel Abba.
Okay, Emmanuel Abba. Please, which area of Abba?
I'm at Umode.
Okay, Umode. Okay, we want to know the area of Abba you're calling from, so that if you're telling us a story of what happened to you, then we know if it is really, we know from which area it really happened or it's happening from. All right, tell us what you think about this, the SARS experience.
All right, the SARS issue you have to say, I think it should be resolved from the stem of forces in Nigeria. Because they don't have uniform, one. And number two, anybody on uniform is gone, claims to be a South African. And if you see what they do to the students from other states universities where in school, you just think these guys are also criminals. As long as there's an incident, anything occurs, they come for one talent, and everybody just is implicated. They don't even know what happened, want to know whether it happened 2 days ago or 3 days ago, no investigation. Everybody comes a suspect, a criminal. And what they do to people in the name of interrogation, if you see it, my guy, that's it, you saw them at the act. They are what the policemen, you have to say. They are seriously, they are dealing with youth. And they are not doing their job. They don't get the bad guys. They just end up maltreating youth, doing sort of unspeakable acts in the name of interrogation. And at the end of the day, they still take it to blame for bailout. So, on my own point of view, I think they should just remove them and say, if possible, create another one, but as far let's forget about them. If police cannot do it, let's leave them. They are not doing their job at all.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. And from this young man, okay, go ahead, Pascal Onyango.
Thank you. Yes, some time ago we discussed this SARS issue. And this time around, we have been.
Please, later, after I want you to react to what he has just said too.
Okay. This time around, we have been having some protest for and against. That is to say different strokes for different folk. And I remember I said here that SARS, as it were, is a necessary evil. Necessary evil in the sense that the criminals have gone haywire, and the government, especially the police force, decided to carve out a special anti-robbery squad. But unfortunately, the operatives made a mess of it, in the sense that it became an avenue of exploiting and intimidating and detaining people indiscriminately. I remember we said here that ab initio they should prevent robbery, anti-robbery. And in the case where maybe somebody is arrested, they should use their training to find out. If you see a criminal and you are trained to look for a criminal, you must know, no matter how hard one tries to hide his or her identity. And not to clamp down on somebody and start beating or even mining, and again extorting money and detaining people indiscriminately. While we have our human rights, right to not to be detained anyhow, and if you are detained, if there is a reason to detain you, it can be more than 48 hours before you are taken to the nearest court for prosecution. But you may find out that somebody will be detained for 1 month under the guise that they are investigating. And not only you are detained, you will be so demonized and intimidated and beaten down, browbeaten. And at the end of the day, you may find somebody innocent of whatsoever they are accusing one for. So the issue of protesting for and against is not a surprise, because some of the criminals, I think they are the SARS of a thing had made them to realize that even if you are doing something, remember the SARS. Like yesterday, some criminal elements in Abia State, especially in Abia, were kind of their den was broken in kidnappers, and people that did that are policemen. Whether you call them SARS or whatever, some are from the IG's squad, some from the TIU, and these people, they are working. But what the populace is saying is that you have to work with human face. You don't just go, cut one's nose in order to spite the face.
Yeah, all right, so I think let's listen to this fellow. Hello? Hello? Hello, good morning. Please lower the volume of your TV set. Lower the volume of your TV set. All right?
Good morning. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I am calling from Abia.
All right. Thank you for calling.
I have experience about this sort of stuff, which I was once a victim of an embarrassment. And they stopped us that when we were just moving on in the kitchen. So we went to search. And when I noticed what they are, I noticed that they are after extracting money from people, not even keeping their environment. But what I'm trying to suggest on this platform is just that the government should look into this. These people are known as people who are trained to checkmate environment. But if you check within the government now, where we live, we have been terrorized by people at the time. We don't usually sleep. Now we have these people moving around with their own vehicle, collecting money from people. Within 10, 11, 12, you won't see them again. By 12, 1, you see some move on trying to break some buildings to enter houses just to collect money from people. While we have people who are specialized for those things. By the end of it, they see them doing the best and they start collecting money from people. The government should know what they should do about it. It's totally wrong. So that Abba city should not be a war zone where the government can get. Because at this point, when they employ them, they employ them to come and fight for Abba. It's totally wrong. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chief Charles Wangwa, one of the callers said that these men are not in uniform. So how does one know who is a SARS operatives, and don't you think that many other ugly eggs must have been parading like SARS?
Yeah, before you are arrested, whoever is arrested is supposed to identify himself first. If he identify himself, then you know he's a policeman, then you can start dealing with him. Then about this case of...
But a fake policeman can claim to be a policeman, a fake SARS...
If he brings his ID card, he has to bring his ID. If somebody is arresting you, have to tell you the station he's taking you to. Where you come. You see, the problem is that most of us, we don't know our rights. You see, there is protection for everybody. And we have certain inalienable rights, which nobody can take from you, whether criminal or not. Most of us don't have... I've been to police stations a couple of times to release people, to get people out. Because most of us, we don't know that even the policemen have their own limitations. A policeman to who is misbehaving can also be arrested. The people can also arrest a policeman. You hand him over to the superior officer too. Police is not above the law. It's just because they have gun, because they have instrument of violence. It's not supposed to be so. Then about Abia State, it's true, especially Abia State and Abia. We are under siege of extortion. Every policeman wants to be posted to Abia State, especially Abia. I have somebody who was posted to the north, a policeman from this our area. I sent money to him to even feel properly. There, you did not even talk to people anyhow, not to talk of extortion, because you don't know who else is on the road. In Lagos State, they have also reduced. You don't have this kind of extortion.
So why is Aba's own own different?
Okay, I took it. I won't be specific. I took it to about, I would say, the highest level governance. I discussed. I've been putting up this issue. I took it up. Even one of our topmost leaders, the extortion that happens within his neighborhood, it's even the worst within other states. I took it up. So what they told me, what they found out, is not something I can say on air.
Okay, sir, let's take this caller. Maybe this caller might tell us. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, hello. Hello?
Yeah, hello, you're talking to Charles. I'm calling from Abba.
All right, thank you, Charles. Which area of Abba?
Calling from Brass.
All right, thank you very much, Brass. Charles, tell us what you think.
Yeah, I want to speak of my experience. Actually, I was the one involved in this.
All right, go ahead.
Illegal movement they are moving.
All right, do that.
We were in our house in the night. We were sleeping. It was almost past. Someone came into the compound, dragged every young boy in the compound, dragged them out. We were still complaining and asking, what did we do? What did we do? Almost most of us are students and some are finished school. They say that we must reach station, and when we get there, that's when they will tell us what we have done. Okay, we'll follow them because they provide the car and they carry us. We reached there. People will know what happened. They put us inside there. Okay, started bringing us one after the other. Started saying, we are robbery. That the only thing that is going to save us now is if you start calling anybody that will help us now and tell us, with each person 350,000 there. This thing that I'm telling you is now as if like they are doing it to bargain. With the beating and every other thing. Can you imagine after that we have to stay like 4 days at the cell? And we still finally provide each person 150,000 because they were threatening to shoot us if nobody shoot.
Okay, now the question is this. Like one time, the police stopped me one time long ago at the road and they say I should give them 2,000. They expect the vehicle is stolen. I asked the policeman, so all I need to do if I steal a vehicle is to come, give you 2,000 and go. So assuming this vehicle is stolen now, it's a stolen vehicle, I just give you the 2,000 naira, drive it and go. Even if it is your brother's vehicle or vehicle belonging to your friend, a member of family. So that's all it takes. The policeman looked at me. I said, you look at it. Because the suspect is stolen, I should give you 2,000 naira. I said, listen to yourself. The man looked at me. So that was how that extortion stopped. I didn't give them money. I said, take me to the nearest station. Put this vehicle, whatever you need to prove, whatever you want to get, I'll get it to you. But can you hear yourself? 2,000 naira because of... So even if they were armed robbers, they just pay 150,000, then they go.
See, Barrister, please, what do you think about this? You heard what the young man said, please.
I heard, my dear, that's exactly what...
Isn't it ugly enough? An ugly experience.
If there is any other word to compare, it is more than ugly. It's very, very atrocious what people are experiencing in the hands of the security operatives. Not only the SARS, it's like SARS is being picked as scapegoats. But the issue is that our security operatives are not doing the job the way they should do it. It's not like people are saying that we don't need security. No. If any person says he or she does not need security, we have to investigate such a one. Yeah. But the truth is that the people we sent to do this have seen it as a oil well. We are a gold mine. where they will be making money, and they are capitalizing in the men in the ignorance of the people. The people don't know their right and left. People don't even want to fight for their right. They don't even have the wherewithal to do that. And you find out that once you are brand-beaten, you are beaten. The niche is said, once beaten is twice shy. The Abba man, the Igbo man, our area, we have been subjected to the extent that it's like what Chief Charles is saying, that he discussed with some people at the end of affairs, things they told him, he's not ready to say it here, for whatever reasons, he said so. But I want you here to know, and people to hear me, that most of those people we are talking about have these people as their agents. They have the police to, if a person in the State House Assembly now has more than 10 policemen following him about, for what? And some of these leaders have their henchmen in the name of bodyguards and stuff like that. And these men, when they are kind of littered, when they were left, they will go into the society and perpetrate evil. And when you handle them, these are the same people that will come for them and say, "Ah, he's my boy, now he's my boy." You will leave him, and he will now turn around to go after you. Some of these policemen, like he said, they are not above the law, but who will bear the cat? They are working for a big man over there, a big officer over there, right, who will cover their trails.
Cover their backs. Okay, let's see who is calling us. Hello? 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 Good morning, and thank you for calling. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Mohammed.
All right. From which area are you calling?
I'm calling from Umode.
All right, from Umode. Thank you for calling. Please, what's your take on the topic?
My take is on the topic.
Hello?
Special anti-robbery squad is good, but they are not doing their job as special anti-robbery squad. They are not doing their job as special anti-civilian squad. When you will see a vessel in a keke, you know automatically that a keke rider is looking for a means to feed. And you will come here against the keke man. You bring up the keke man from the keke, you beat him mercilessly. Just because he did not give you either 50 naira or 100 naira. I know that the hotel at the roof before the Port Harcourt. Opposite that particular hotel is where this special anti-robbery squad has their domain. That is where they are. And you see that a special anti-robbery squad now is a keke store. At the same time, we will be shooting God. What are you shooting God for? For a keke man? You will see a man to bring up maybe somebody inside the keke will stop. Or can this thing you are doing is not good? Behave favor. Then we start and start beating the same person again. And then somebody will tell you to bring evidence that they are beating that particular person. Assuming that you want to use their camera phone to cover what is happening there, they will break the phone, they will beat the phone, and you cannot do anything. But I believe that why all these things is happening is that we don't have any human rights in this country. Why I say that we don't have any human rights in this country? From our president, Muhammad Buhari, God will give order, release this person, and he said that he will not release that person. When your president is against the human rights in the country, what we expect the remaining people to do? I'm going to tell you the fact. Everything some people do in this particular country, nobody questions that.
like I was saying, the society has been debased. Prior to this time, we are aware of the fact that there was a time we had what is known as about women's riot. Right. But it was not a riot, it's just a protest. About some 70 years ago, or about 70 years, people woke up and said no to intimidation, no to demonization, no to other human rights privations. And that's how all these human rights issues, declarations and stuff like that, from the UN to Africa Charter to even the federal government and locally. But the issue is that how practicable is it? Who does what? You are aware of the fact that sometime in 1945, people were asking for good environment for their job, even value shooting. You know that. These are human rights, that, intimidation. Come to Abia now. Nobody is ready to call Abia. Previously, if you say Abia, people will come. If you say Abia now, people will be running. Because if they see you around that place, these people who are calling us or whatever, they'll shoot you and brand you whatever they like. And nobody wants to. Prior to this time, the last caller said there are no people fighting for human rights. There are. But most of the people fighting now are kind of using it to come up, to do kind of a publicity stunt and make money. You are aware of the fact that Gani Faweni, of blessed memory, how many times has been jailed and tortured because of human rights issues? How many of us now are ready to do that? We don't want to die. We want sacrifices. Hello? We don't want to fight for people. We don't want to fight for ourselves. What we want is to make mouth talk. Some days ago, some human rights activists and lawyers and stuff like that in Abia, they woke up and talked about human rights. We need more of that. We don't even want, I said it here, when elections are coming closer, you see all the manners and names of human rights department, this, that. They will go and collect money from the same government, from the same leaders. They are supposed to say no to your excesses.
You see, I was touched. The issue of police brutality and high-handedness has been there. I started fighting this cause over, even when I was in secondary school, about 30 years ago. I remember one time I was going along the road, I saw a young girl almost crying. It was getting late. The village said, what happened? He said the police locked her mother and her father. What happened? I said, okay. I was about traveling. I canceled it. Luckily enough, I knew the DP to them. I went there. What happened? I got the mother and father released, and I made sure such incident never happened again. I have several people. They take them from one police station to the other. To an extent that 2011, when I contested the election, I put it as one of my manifesto to stop police high-handedness and brutality. Even recently, I have taken the case to the highest level. Like what I was telling you, these people are even being blackmailed. They are helpless. The government, the big man, don't like what is happening. He is helpless. Let me tell you, the governor or the president knows what happens, even around, even more than you and me. They know everything. But at times, these people are helpless. They spend money, they give every month, there is allowance, all the security agencies.
Chief, let me come in here. How are you telling us that they are handicapped?
They are handicapped, they are helpless.
Okay, let me come in now. Because of time. I am in Abia. You are in Abia. We are in Abia. We are in Nigeria. Before this administration, the inception of this administration, you heard of a certain Osikanko. Osikanko was a boy of that administration then. He was working with them, fund for them, and with some other people that were working for them. These are people they give subvention pay to keep them in that seat. And when they push them out, they become what we call King Kong. They become what they created, going after them. And that was why when a certain Osikampu was killed by the same people that made him what he was kind of buried like a king. So for you to tell us that these people at the end of affairs are leaders, they're handicapped, they created these people. They are the people that made them what they are.
And when they are no more getting what we are getting from the government, they turn around, go about the streets of Aba. There is no leader, like you rightly said, that does not know a criminal. There is no policeman or even you and I in your vicinity. You know them, okay. But you won't talk because you don't want to die.
All right, gentlemen, let's hear. Hello? Please lower the volume of your... Please, if you want to call us, do well to lower the volume of your television set so we can hear you. Chief Wangwa, you said that our leaders are helpless.
Okay, why they are helpless? See,
tell us why.
You see, these people are also blackmailers. I want to tell you now that if you stop them, remove them from the roads, and you're serious, deal with some of them to stop this extortion.
As Idris is wont to do now, he has arrested up to...
That's window dressing, that's proscript. Okay. I'm telling you here now, in Aba, you ask the police, leave the road. You stop them from there and start dealing with them. You will not even be able to move around. The kind of things, the kind of crimes, even the kind of shootings done you will hear in the night, you will go back. Then it's left, because me, I don't know. It's left for you to find out how did just these criminals come out with this kind of guns they have all overnight and going. You see,
that has been the question. Who are sponsoring them? Who are the sponsors? All right, before we answer that, let's take this caller. Hello? Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for calling. Please, your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Chemela.
All right. Thank you, Chemela, for calling.
Yeah, I think I am not in support of total removal of SARS from our midst. But I am in support of total restructuring. And before you restructure, you break. Don't restructure while you think you must break for you to restructure. Yeah. Number one, who are the members of SARS? Why will somebody pay to be in the team of SARS? Now we are aware that somebody is very money, some of money to be in the team of SARS. Which means there is something happening within the rank and file on that side that we don't know. That is number one. Number two, SARS should be a special police force. When equipped, and not be equipped with SARS, first, stop the ordinary people and the so-called legislators from moving, even bank officials from moving with terrain. So that is people like that we need to decide. That is special anti-robbery squad. So when you hear terrain coming, people will pack, everybody will pack and clear for them to attack a particular situation. They don't need to be going from house to house. In support of this, they are not having any better encounter with them. But I have seen people being resisted by big elements. So we need to be respect because of what happened with us. However, they need to be restructured and punished. Then the development in our mission as it goes and tell the public, police don't have any right to get anybody. Each time that they arrest you, let them take you to the nearest police station and leave you. They don't have the private police, they don't have the police station. You let this type of police arrest you, they should take you to the police and leave you and hand over to ordinary police for killing people in country. It's unheard of. It's ungodly. So we need them in a side. However, we need to be restructured. Thank you and have a nice day.
Yeah, let me correct one impression what the lawyer said. You see, I am not in the government or a spokesman of the present government, but I can tell you that since the administration of Governor Okezi Bazo, nobody like Osisi Kanko has arisen and will arise. The governor is not going to tolerate that. Anywhere you see such criminal overwhelming, even if there are even people that we call hard men, they've all gone underground. The governor himself will never address it. You see, all these things are some of the legacies of the old administration. But this governor is trying to change this, and I can tell you that in the next few days, things come, you will see change gradually. He is going to whip all that off. He will not encourage that. This police extortion, this police brutality is giving him sleepless nights. He has even appointed an ombudsman that if you have such complaint, you go like me. If you have such complaint, you let me know that complaint. I can assure you it will be pursued to the logical conclusion. All you have to do is make sure somebody witnesses what the police is saying. Make sure you send a message to somebody. If they say they want to take you to the cell, let them take you to the cell. People pay money. They extort it because of time. It's blackmail. Maybe you are rushing to a place, maybe you are going, or go there, send a message. And one thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to find a way, let the government publish the number, circulate so that they know an ombudsman, people who goes out to stop this evil. Me personally, I have intervened severally and stopped people from being extorted or being unnecessarily.
All right, let's take this last caller before I get to you, sir. Hello? Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, thank you for calling. Your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Victor. I'm calling from Abia.
All right, thank you, Victor. What's your opinion?
Please, I want to contribute to making my vote because some of the people that will achieve, I don't know whether you have somehow the brutality of policemen in this house. In all aspects, police is the fault for now. And I can say, please, in the room that the justice in business, you really try to dig hole and jump into that hole because of their brutality. If you just tell where they are taking the vessel, peppers, you are in trouble. If you just tell where they are breaking, you are in trouble without anything. Talking of facts, their own is just, they invaded market every day in the name of this thing. Beating people, damaging goods and all the rest of them because of the cost. We don't know what is their own problem, their own work. We people will help us and educate us on the ethics of those people. If you go to the name of the people you because of this or that or that, if you go to that, police will pack you and they leave you on the road without even telling you the reason that you pass you. If you go to this place, you will just carry your paper. Even when that question gets your paper and see your paper is complete. So all these things are just I don't know the word to use to qualify them. These are not where they are sent to do. So I don't know. Talking about police and staff and all of them are policemen. That's why the way I understand. You people qualify in many things.
All right, thank you very much. Because of our time, we round off with
there's a little erroneous notion I want to correct.
Okay, do that briefly.
Nobody is or has indicted the present administration, and nobody is saying so. I said in response to what my friend here, Chief, said that the government is handicapped, and I make bold to say that the government has the paraphernalia to tackle whatever it is. But the issue is that these people, before the inception of this regime, this administration, we had criminal elements who the government brought into their fold, used them to intimidate people, both people in the security and people outside the security, who they call their, is it henchmen or bodyguards? I don't know. This is the problem. And if you disengage them, they become your problem. We have a lot of them, even walking the streets here. If you go along Abia Road, if you get to Okigwe Road junction by, what do you call it? Number 1 Okigwe Road, that's the rail there. Most of the policemen that are there, they don't have a beat. They don't have where they work. Their station is that place. They stop money. People know them. People have been reporting to the area command, to the CPS, to everywhere. Even making calls. If they remove them today, tomorrow you see them. I don't want to mention the names. I know most of them. And you go to our streets, you see people roaming the street, able-bodied men, stopping vehicles. Right. The government knows that. Why didn't you stop these people?
Because of our time, I'm sorry, gentlemen. That's the much we can take. We'll continue tomorrow. I only plead with you that you also come back tomorrow. Let's have a finishing touch to the topic. SARS protests and rock cities. SARS protests rock cities, and what can be done to checkmate SARS. What can individuals, you and I, do from now henceforth do to protect ourselves? Are we going to be armed with certain numbers with which you can call and tell the necessary arms of government that we are being threatened or being maltreated by SARS? All that will be looked into tomorrow. We ask you to join us tomorrow same time on Good Morning Abia One Star Breakfast Show on our discussion segment. But Good Morning Abia right after now continues with sports from Jonah Oji. Thank you.
One-stop breakfast show on TV.
Good morning and welcome to this segment. My name is Jonah Oje. We shall be talking about so many activities and so many controversies in the world of sports on this segment. All right, they say charity begins at home. That is why I want to start from the home front, where Nigeria's Super Eagles have lost 3 points in their 2018 World Cup qualifier. The loss came as FIFA gifted Algeria a 3-0 walkover defeat of the Super Eagles because Nigeria fielded an eligible player in the match. The fixture on November 10 had ended 1-1, but FIFA on Tuesday added that the decision did not affect the final standings in African qualifying competition Group B. He said the decision also did not affect Nigeria's qualification for the FIFA World Cup in Russia, as they had finished 6 points clear of Zambia. The player involved in the match played in Constantine was Shehu Abdullahi, and the Nigerian Football Federation is also receiving a fine of 6,000 France. The sanction relates to Abdullahi failing to serve the automatic one match ban imposed on him as a result of receiving a caution in 2 separate matches of the same competition. FIFA in a statement also said East Timor had forfeited 7 games in the World Cup qualifiers, forfeiting a total of 9 players who were ineligible because of nationality. This was based on a decision previously taken by the Asian Football Confederation. Well, you have had it. Nigeria, they lost 3 points, but a good thing is that this will not affect Nigeria's participation at the 2018 World Cup, because they finished 6 points ahead of Zambia, who were placed second, which means that minus that 3 point, Nigeria will still have 3 points ahead of Zambia. But we want to use this opportunity to tell the coaching trios and also football administrators who are overseeing the affairs of the Super Eagles at various competitions to be careful next time, to keep records of players, especially those who will be cautioned during various competitions. Shehu Abdullahi received 2 yellow cards, but nobody knew about it. They fielded him in that game against Algeria, and that cost the Super Eagles of Nigeria 3 points. We want to make sure that those who are really at the glass house keep records of the players being cautioned, especially during the global showpiece that will be hosted by Russia in 2018. All right, so we take a flight now to England in the English Premier League, where it really took place last night. Different clubs were able to engage each other at various stadia. Burnley defeated Stoke City by 1-0. Crystal Palace, that has been struggling against relegation, defeated Watford by 2-1, while Huddersfield lost 1-3 to Chelsea yesterday. All right, it will continue today. We have a couple of fixtures that will be coming your way tonight, as Newcastle United will file out against Everton. Southampton will be up against Leicester City. At the Liberty Stadium, Swansea will host Manchester United. Liverpool will be up against West Brom. At Old Trafford, Manchester United will seek to return to winning ways after losing to Manchester City at the weekend, as they file out against Bournemouth. The White Hart Lane, Tottenham Hotspur will play host to Brighton, while West Ham will seek to consolidate on their victory they recorded against Chelsea, as they file out against another giant in the English Premier League, that is Arsenal. These are the fixtures that you will be watching today, and you make sure that you tune into any match of your choice and make sure that you cheer your clubs to victory. All right, we go over to boxing, where Britain's former heavyweight world champion Tyson Fury is free to resume his boxing career after a compromise on his positive test for the banned steroid and nadrolone, that was found with UK anti-doping. It was announced on Tuesday. In recognition of the respective counter-argument and the risk inherent in the dispute resolution process, each side has accepted a compromise of its position. A statement released by UK AD read. So many people have missed Tyson Fury in the world of boxing, but I want to tell you that he will be returning back to the ring, and he said last time that he would like to fight Anthony Joshua. We will see whether that will materialize at the end of the day, whether Anthony Joshua will give in to that request and fight Tyson Fury. And if that actually happens, I must tell you that it will be an explosive bout between these great Britons. All right, this is where we'll call it quits on this segment. Cynthia Cheme, it's over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Jonaji, for taking us into the very interesting and very, very busy world of sports, where indeed no dull moments, if you agree with me. And with that, we crown One Star Breakfast program. Good morning, Abia from MCL TV. From me, Cynthia Cheme, I ask you to have a lovely day ahead. But after now, it's Unasalachi Umabia. Do stay tuned.
Good morning, one-stop breakfast show on TV.
MCL, the word in your home.